Stop the FOMO. The G5 official pricing is here. In today's video, we're going to cover the prices, how it compares to last year's prices, especially now that you don't have the stand as part of the price, and when should you get the G5 over the G4 or over the S95D, or when should you wait for future products from Samsung or Sony or TCL and the like. More importantly, if you need a stand, where do you get it? Well, if you call Robert, I put the number up there, he will include the stand as part of the purchase price. Just tell him, hey, FOMO sent you. Give me the FOMO deal. It has a stand. He will include it. And more importantly, I want you to know this video was not sponsored by Robert or Value Electronics because he's just a good friend. He helped me out when I got started in the review business, right? He invited me over. I shot all the TVs. It was exciting covering the first shootout that I was a part of. And now I'm ready to repay him by saying, hey, let's help this mom and pop store out. Also, this video is sponsored by Whokeys. Hey friends, want to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro but can't afford the official price of $199? How about $21 or Windows 10 for $16 with my discount code SF20? Thanks to our sponsor, Whokeys. Yes, Black Friday is here. Get an additional 30% off with my code SF20. Go to Whokeys.com, add Windows 11 Pro to your cart, apply my discount code SF20, and bam, only $21. Here's how we activate it. Go to your Whokeys account at the top right under User Center, click on My Purchased Orders, click on View Keys and Code, click Get the Key, copy the Windows 11 Pro key under Code Card, then go to your system settings, scroll down and click Activation, click Change Product Key, paste the key code, click Next, and you're done. So don't miss out on these amazing deals. Click on my links in the video description below. Okay, let's go over the pricing. 55-inch G5 is $2,500. 65-inch is $3,400. The 77-inch is $4,500. And the 83-inch, a whopping $6,500. Very similar to last year's pricing, plus or minus $100 depending on the size. But more importantly, as I've mentioned before, it doesn't include the stand. So keep that in mind. If you need a stand, please let Robert know you want the stand. Or if you're getting at Best Buy, which I am getting a commission if you buy at Best Buy or Amazon, right? They're both my affiliates. Then you're going to have to find the stand on your own. It's not always included on Amazon or Best Buy. So keep that in mind if you need a stand. Now, let's start with the important question. Given the prices of the G5 right now, first, how does it compare to last year's pricing or last year's model, the G4? And moving forward, if you're holding off on a discount, will the tariffs affect the discounts? The answer is absolutely, but we'll talk about that later at the end. Let's hit the comparison with last year's G4, the flagship OLED from LG 2024, which I really liked, by the way, and see whether we can't save you some money. Just get the G4 because maybe that's good enough for your use case. So let me pull up some of the basic improvements for you guys here. Why is the G5 worthy? Well, first, at the 55-inch, I think it's worth it regardless. It's only $300 more. That 12% savings, if you go to the G4, it's not enough. You're going to have to drop to the S95D. Look at me, drop, right? That's my benchmark TV. But hey, at $1,800, that's quite a drop for offer members. That means if you're a member of AAA, right, the Auto Club, or a military, or .edu, or government worker, or first responder, Samsung offers you to be an offer member, and then you get the discount. It's on the website. Go to offers, and then qualify to be a member, which everyone qualifies. If you're one of those groups, boom, you'll get that pricing, and I'll link that below. And by the way, I'll also get a commission if you go to Samsung, at no cost to you, of course, but I recommend you go to Robert because I think he's doing a great thing by offering that stand. That's awesome, Robert. Thank you. Now, so 55-inch, I'd go with the $2,500 over the $2,200 G4. Now, the 165 to 144 hertz gaming, so all the G5s have this 165 hertz gaming. For PC gamers, that's relevant. But if you are a console gamer, not a big deal either way. Same with the D65, 10%. window, 2500 nits, that's pretty bright. But if you're watching Friends most of the time, you're watching the news, you're watching sports, it may not be a big deal. 360 nits full field is a big deal for sports. Now, I found sports to be quite bright on the G4, but at that brightness, things tend to get a little washed out. I prefer the G5 this year. It is slightly brighter and not washed out. Contrast was fully preserved. So if you're watching sports in a bright room and you need that brightness, yes, you got to get the G5 because it's definitely brighter than the S95D as well for sports full field. On the other hand, if you don't watch in a bright room, you're in a darker room, you definitely will not be watching that bright. Trust me, it is super bright. You'll be watching in sports or standard mode and maybe even lowering that brightness a little bit, then you don't need the G5. The G4 is fine. Now, image quality. G5 has an improvement that I didn't put in here, and it's the near dark or the near black color and shadow detail. There's more color near black. It's less desaturated. Well, actually, it's not desaturated at all. It has all the color that it should have. The G4 didn't. It got very desaturated near black. Even though there's supposed to be a little bit of color, it looks more gray. So if you watch a lot of those gloomy scenes, a lot of shadow, get the G5. The question is whether the G5 is worth the premium at the 65-inch. It's $1,000 difference, right? G4 is $2,400. G5 is $3,400. Whew, that's $1,000. If you're watching, again, mostly news, sports, friends, old TV shows, new TV shows, where it's not dark, I'd say go with the G4. Especially if this is your first OLED TV, definitely go with the G4. If you're coming from an older OLED, your near dark experience, you're very used to that. You want something better. Well, other previous WOLEDs from LG all struggled near black, sometimes a little bit of crushing. G5 solves that. So coming from an OLED, I'd recommend saving up for the G5. Coming from LCD TV, I think the G4 will do you fine. And 77-inch is also $1,000 difference, less of a discount going to a G4. So there's an argument that you might want to go with the G5 since you're spending $3,500 plus another $1,000. Well, that is a lot of money, isn't it? How about the 83-inch? Yes, going from $5,300 to $6,500. What's another $1,200, right? It's all relative. But at the end of the day, it's all use case as well. If, same with the 83 and the 77-inch, you're watching just the basics, the G4 is fine. As a matter of fact, I'd argue it's indistinguishable with the basics. We're talking YouTube, just streaming of animation, comedy, whatever. It's those just very dark scenes, which is more frequent than the very bright scenes, right? Like bright movies, Alpha, Mad Max, Fury Road. Okay, the G5 will look slightly more impactful, but if you don't watch those movies every day, I don't know. Gaming, HDR gaming is better on the G5, brighter, even more HDR impact, more color gamut, wider color, more BT 2020 coverage, more color luminance. I think gamers definitely should save up. If they're not going to get it now, get it later. The G5 is a great gaming TV overall, but if you're on a Switch, the G4 is fine. I mean, SDR on the G5 will be a little bit brighter, but the G4 is fairly bright on its own. The S95D is, however, brighter than the G4 and SDR. So we need to compare the G5 against the S95F. So let's talk about the S95F. I've seen it. Can't share with you much about it beyond what I saw at CES because things change between CES prototypes and the actual retail unit that we'll get to see for review. So I'm going to reserve comparisons with the S95F for now. So if you're not loyal to WebOS and you're considering the Samsung, don't bite the bullet yet. We're going to be at Valley Electronics in May to compare head-to-head the S95F with the G5. At that point, you'll know more. But if you are a WebOS guy, you are LG, and you can't decide between the G4 and the G5, then yes, now we have the use case for one versus the other. I would say 98% of you will be completely happy with the G4. The 2% who need the things that I've listed on the bottom, right? Brighter full field, meaning you're watching hockey, and the hockey on the G4 simply isn't bright enough, or it's bright, but it's a little bit washed out, and you notice the loss of color slightly. The G5 addresses that and gets even brighter while preserving color. That's pretty magnificent. Or you just want to have the best of the best. As far as tariffs, so let's talk about where's this heading. So we have the MSRP. The question is, how much of a discount will we get by Black Friday if tariffs against Mexico apply to TVs for the rest of the year? And that's pretty significant. The math has been that it'll be 25% more, but maybe even higher than that, depending on how the cost is calculated by LG. It may be that the discounts will be minimal by Black Friday. So now that's worst case scenario. I don't see the prices going up from MSRP. It might, it could, I don't see it doing it, but I don't see the biggest discounts if we have the tariffs by Black Friday. Black Friday comes, tariffs doesn't change. It's still 20%, 25%. Maybe you're lucky to get a couple $100s off. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're waiting until Black Friday. If you could afford it now, you get to enjoy the TV for the next 6 months. That's the big takeaway here. If you wait until Black Friday, this year is definitely a gamble. Normally, I would tell people to wait. Hey, you're going to get $2,200. Look at or $2,400. Look at the 65-inch, right? G4, 65-inch, $2,400. It's $1,000 off if you wait till the holidays. Will it be $1,000 off this holiday? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Where do you guys think this is going in terms of predictions? We don't know, right? Who can know? So this will be interesting this Black Friday for sure. But I think these prices are pretty good, given that it's pretty much stayed the same with the exception of the stand, LG, or rather you general public who demanded that LG take away the stand. These focus groups, they drive me nuts. And later this week, we're going to talk Sony secrets. I think I could say that. No, I can't say secrets. Sony information related, maybe, or unrelated to TVs. Who knows? You can figure that out. Until next time, my friends, stop the FOMO.